Extra.
Konnichiwa, and welcome. You tuned into Kawaii-Fi Radio, the podcast. We dive into the world of anime, manga, Japanese otaku culture, and occasionally a dumpster because, look, we went looking for something weird. So I'm Kyle, and with me is Kenny.
Hello.
We're doing a kind of a little bit of a mini episode to tide you over because we had a heck of a wedding over the weekend.
Oh yeah, it's
Very nice. It was very good.
I haven't fully recovered.
No.
I fired a cannon. It was great.
You did. Not a large one. A little cannon, but it was good. It was
A
good
reasonably sized cannon.
Reasonably sized cannon. This episode, we're going back in time quite a bit. We've gone back to 1987, and we're talking about a film called Black Magic M-66. Now, it only runs for about 50 minutes, but this is just like a relic that we've both had sitting there on like a we need to kind of watch this.
We've got a bunch of those, and I've just been making a point to say, yes, now is the time. No more putting it off. We just need to watch all the stuff we've been putting off.
Yeah, but we've got so much stuff to watch already.
Yes, we do.
In the new season. So, look, this is a bit of an odd sort of cyberpunk story, I guess you could say. And this is... what was the lead director?
Shiro Masamune.
Shiro Masamune.
And any eagle-eyed watchers of this will know that's a name that has considerable weight in anime, considering they're attached to Appleseed, everything that is Ghost in the Shell, to say the least. Yeah, and
he was the director, storyboard, original creator, and screenplay writer for this. Now, the story's not without its holes. This has a lot of plot holes in it.
Yeah, here's the thing.
I wonder if it's the dub or the subs, or...
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's that this is a very, very short anime. This was what, like 50 minutes?
Yeah, 50 minutes. 48, I think we have.
I found it all on YouTube one day. I was just like, hey, this is like an episode of something.
Yeah.
No, this is a random movie that the creators made years ago. And from what I saw on IMDb, this came before Ghost in the Shell, the original movie.
Yeah.
This came before Appleseed even.
Yeah. So this focuses on a freelance reporter called Sybil. She discovers a military plane crash and is thrilled by the prospect of getting an exclusive scoop and latest inside story, but she's unaware that the plane's carrying two like crazy top secret prototype androids and they're assassins. They'll stop at nothing to destroy their target, and for some reason the target is the creator's daughter.
Yes, he left the old chips in when they were still in development phases, and the old chips had a target in mind, which was his granddaughter.
Yeah, his granddaughter. But why? Never explained.
Well, I feel like there is some explanation to that, in that the scientist seems a bit tapped.
Yeah, he does.
It's there's a bit. It's like, why would you help her? Well, it wouldn't be scientific.
Yeah,
that's not an excuse at all.
I mean, he says that at the end, but throughout the whole film, he's desperate to look out for his granddaughter, which is, at least good.
But it just seems like he has many screws loose.
Yes, he does.
I mean, he did create two just indestructible, crazy killing machines.
Yeah, he did. So the military's frantically trying to clean up its mess, and Sybil races against time to find and protect the robot's target victim, all while documenting the military's misconduct before it's too late.
Occasionally documenting it. She carries around the camera, but she is mostly running away from the crazy-ass Terminator.
Yeah, you kind of forget that. Look, it's an odd film, and I don't know if I'd recommend it.
I bloody well
but
would.
I don't know if I'd say it's bad either. It's kind of sitting in the middle where you're kind of a bit like, this is really the first step before Ghost in the Shell, Appleseed, Bubblegum Crisis.
And you can see a lot of that in the characters and in the technology, and like the antagonists themselves, they are just...
The style of the vehicles,
exactly,
in particular.
Yes.
Yeah, like if you've watched any of the shows I just mentioned, the style of vehicles is just like, that's from that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it looks like it would barely, function as far as like you trying to figure out its mechanics. But it would look amazing on the cover of like an old science fiction magazine or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
I love that old kind of stuff.
We watched it dubbed, and the dub's not terrible.
It's a slight mistake.
I mean, the guy who we couldn't figure out where his accent was from and couldn't understand him.
There were a few of those. So,
Yeah.
we wondered if it had been done in...
Like a French-Canadian dub?
Yeah, if it had been a French Canadian dub, because, yes, one of them suddenly talks with a strong accent and is just like, what did he say?
Yeah, and then there's another scene where the lead girl, Sybil, says something in French.
Yeah,
It's just basically my God in French. I can't remember what the...
No, she says oy vey, and that's
yeah.
not French, that is Hebrew.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, there you go. So yeah, look, there's a lot of different things thrown in there. But it's not terrible, but I do wonder if the subtitles are right as well, because the subtitles kind of seem a little bit...
Off.
Yeah. The dub feels more correct than the subtitles.
Even then,
Yeah.
you have to wonder if there is just stuff being lost in translation.
I honestly need to watch it with Japanese language and with the subtitles on, because obviously learning Japanese, they'll pick up on little words and I'll know if they've said,
definitely.
If they said go and eat your food and they haven't said, tapite or something like that, and then I can go, okay, no, they've definitely taken the mick, but
Localizes.
yeah,
what can
exactly.
You do? I know exactly what you can do. Replace them with AI.
No,
Yes.
it'll only get worse.
Can't get that much worse, can it?
You saw what happened with the Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow. They invented the AI invented a whole new character.
It's the unknown.
The unknown.
Wait. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So going back to the anime, main character Sybil. I adore her.
Yeah.
She's great.
She's very much a forerunner to that classic, strong, has a lot of guts, female lead character that we see in a lot of the cyberpunk style genre shows.
Cropped hair, gutsy, just runs into the heat of danger kind of character. It's like you were saying, like strong character, but it's like we're not talking about your modern strong female character.
No, we're talking like 80s.
She has absolutely no sense of grace or decorum. It's great.
Well, she has no sense of fear either. And admittedly, when we started watching this, like the opening scene, she's just gotten out the shower, and you think, "Oh, okay, it's going to be one of those films." Yeah. It's not, because you don't see anything.
Starship Troopers without sans nipple out.
Yeah, you don't see anything realistically, but it's just it's very much a sign of like what they were doing in the late 80s in anime, and how.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it gives you a sense of her character.
Yeah.
But it's also gratuitous as it is.
It is. I mean, like, there's a lot of hallmarks of 80s anime in
Okay,
here.
but it's just
like,
that scene.
Both with that scene, with the style of animation, with the hyper detailed like interfaces of machines and stuff. Like, you don't see that these days. It's all a lot more simplified. Or they just put a Windows logo up and flip it and change the colors, or an apple and just take a different fruit.
Yeah, it's pineapple in Around High School Host.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was, definitely kind of one of those periods where like they went super in depth into how, the scenery and the backgrounds and like the close-ups. And I love that. I have always adored that sort of like the Akira-esque and the,
the other director on this was the lead animator on Akira.
You're kidding.
It's true.
Right. There you go. So yeah, it's like this was based on a manga initially, apparently. And I've never seen it or heard of it, and I'm going to have to try and track it down.
But yeah, so it's... Wait, I want to go back to... the first scene where she's like... naked at her computer looking up all the stuff that's going on, and she gets her camera and her gear and runs out her front door, comes back when she realizes she has no clothes on, and like grabs a couple of things, doesn't even put them on, throws her on her shoulder and runs out. It's just like, lady, what the heck?
Yeah,
you get a sense for her character though. She doesn't care. She is clumsy. You constantly see her like tripping over stuff and bashing her head on stuff.
It also does a lot of those like old like Lupin the Thirds, faces. Like, it's like this is a time capsule. I adore it.
It's like almost kind of like looking at like how would you put it? Almost Looney Tunes animation.
Yeah,
there was a rubberiness to the characters. You knew that you were doing animation, so they were cartoony.
But I mean,
so crazy stuff could happen to them, and they would generally survive.
Well, yeah, crazy things do happen. Like one of the ships comes to visit the inventor of the robots, and its engines blow off the roof of the house.
Yes,
and they're like, they've blown off the roof of the house again. You're like, again? This happens often?
First of all, that says something about the society that it takes place in, where this sort of thing seems to happen often.
A lot.
Like, it almost wouldn't be shocking the fact that they've just dropped a pair of T-600 Terminators.
Yeah, right.
And the Terminators themselves, awesome.
Well, first things first, they kill a bear. And we were, throughout the film, we're trying to figure out where on earth is this. And it's like, that's a big bear. Reckon they're in Hokkaido? I don't know. What's north of Hokkaido? Seeing is like the end of the film is talking about rebels in the north. And you're like...
Yeah, it's talking about spreading anti-North sentiment. They drop a whole bunch of the world building right at the end.
And you're like...
But without actually giving you the world building.
Why?
What just happened?
What's it for? Is there going to be a sequel? No. Like,
can there be? Can we get them onto that?
I mean, honestly, I would watch this. Like, if this was a series and it was episodic, like one disaster after another that this girl keeps getting involved in with her crew.
But you do kind of see that in the end during the post-credits scene.
The outro,
You see her doing other jobs, but they're more like standard jobs, like a hold-up, looks like a jumper, a flood.
Yeah.
She's in a disaster zone where she's like keeling over and vomiting into a corner. And then some medics push past her and drop her into her own vomit. It's just like,
yeah, it feels very much like, I mean, both you and I, having worked in the media, like, you know, going out to locations as a camera operator and doing stuff like that.
It's chaos, yeah.
It's chaos, and it's funnily enough kind of like a good interpretation of it. It's not that dangerous, but she purposely puts herself in danger.
Oh yeah,
like, you know. Also, can we talk about the newspaper?
God, yes.
Okay, so this is a really oddly specific, weird scene. About 20 minutes into it,
it's the girl talking about her grandfather, the inventor of the robot.
Yeah.
She's out in public and she doesn't know that the robot is hunting her yet.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Hey, look, your grandfather's in the paper, and it's got a picture of him right there." So you're like, "Oh yeah, okay, that is the character we've seen before."
Nothing else in that paper that
the
you
rest,
can read.
The rest of the newspaper, it's in English.
And it's about the Muppets.
It's all talking about the Muppets.
Specifically, the Muppets movie from 1979. Like,
we think.
Why?
We think it might be talking about that.
Well, this is true because there was two others between then and when this came out. So,
and that,
yeah.
Even then, it's like, okay, this is set in the distant future or whatever, so maybe
the year
they're...
2000.
They had such high hopes for the year 2000.
They really did.
But,
and then we got the Y2K bug instead.
And we didn't even get that. It was disappointing. We could have had Fallout.
I'd rather not, but sure, yeah.
I do okay in Fallout.
No.
But yeah, so are they talking about like a Muppet movie in the distant future? Is this a distant future where they have genetically created perfect Muppet species?
I did not go down that rabbit hole. I'm glad you did.
My brain did.
Yeah, okay, no. Please no.
Because they were talking about Fozzie Bear doing a comedy styling, which was absolutely terrible. And
it was like a monologue or something? A comedy monologue? Yeah.
And,
maybe they were expecting that there would be Muppet films every couple of years at that point in time, considering. I mean, like, I wonder what people in Japan think about the Muppets. Like,
okay, that is a brilliant question. I've talked before about my personal hang-up with Japan is we talk about which is better, subs and dubs here. They talk about which is better, subs and dubs to do with King of the Hill over there.
Yeah, and The Simpsons and other long-running American TV shows.
They have weeb conventions over there like we have here, except theirs, they dress up as cowboys with guns. Have I not shown you this footage?
I forgot. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, they do a whole lineup of everyone as their like OC cowboys.
So it's the Sonic community, but cowboys.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
There is
everyone has an original character.
There is a strange reflection going on. As obsessed with our people can be towards the east, they can be obsessed towards the west. It is strange.
I mean, look at how they look at Germany, Russia, and France in anime. Like, it goes both ways.
Sometimes a little bit.
So let's
back to the anime.
Let's go back to the anime, and I do want to say, like, the art style is beautiful. Mm-hmm. The character designs, while simple, are really good for the time.
And yeah, it's like, but you can see that they're like, I wouldn't say rudimentary, but they're prototypes of everything you'd see in those kind of movies later.
Exactly.
In Ghost in the Shell, like main character Sybil is such a dead ringer for like early Motoko.
Yeah, and also reminds me of Dirty Pair
as
well, which came out only a few years after this. So there you go. But I find it they did a lot of kind of unique things. They did perspective shots where you're in the view of the character and you're moving through the room and the perspective is changing like that.
Yeah, you see them like running through the woods at one point, or like cresting in the elevator, like turning around trying to, and you're seeing...
You don't see that very much.
That was expensive.
That was time consuming.
This was all hand-drawn stuff. This is pre-computer generation.
Yeah.
This is the 80s, for God's sakes.
This is the late 80s as well. So like... Computers are still the size of a house, like, you know? But, you know, it's beautifully done, and it's I know I keep saying this, but it's a great time capsule. If you want to see where, like, the sci-fi and cyberpunk genres kind of originated and the style of stuff they did, this would be a great starting point to kind of see what these early prototypes were, because, as you said, this is probably...
early prototypes would be stuff like Astro Boy and like
I know,
the big robot stuff.
But like the modernist, like the mecha franchises.
The sci-fi, the cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Very much the origin of that sort of thing.
Because, I mean, this came before Appleseed, it came before Bubblegum Crisis, and actually there's a reference to Appleseed in this, so clearly it was in the works.
Yeah, it's at the end you see main character Sybil wearing a shirt which just has Appleseed written on it. He's just like, hey, what?
wait, hang on. Now, the studios who did this, it's two studios that did the animation. There's AIC. They've done, as we said, a lot of mecha stuff in the past. Armitage 3's, all three of its OVAs. Bubblegum Crisis, the original 2033 series, the 2040 series, and I believe Bubblegum Crash as well, which is the one in the middle. Tenchimio, Macross, AD Police.
These are pretty big names.
Yeah, and then they've done other things like the rather lewd Macken Kai, which is it's an ecchi show, and there's quite a few of those on there as well. So then you go to the other side, and you've got Animate as the other studio. They did Battle Angel Alita, the Gundam original OVAs, Arslan Senki, and a heap of others that are out there, and
also just a lot of weird. A lot of stuff I'm going to have to cross-reference with my anime list to see what parts of the lower rungs of the score it sits on.
I know, right? A lot of these are kind of between the 7s and the 5s. And you're kind of like, so was it good at some point?
Okay, 7 is, as I've said before, 7 on my anime list is kind of the deep average of average.
Yeah.
After that, you start getting into stranger and stranger territories.
And I do wonder if this is just a reflection of the age of the content. Like, if that was coming out as a seasonal thing now, people would be like, oh, okay, cool. But, I mean, well, actually, admittedly, some stuff in this current season is on a 5 already. So, like, I think there's one on a 4.6.
Cool. But, which one was that?
I don't remember. I looked at it about a week and a half.
Can't be Bartender. That one's great.
It's not Bartender, no. I think it's one of the ones that's like, based off a game, and they've used a lot of CG, and it's just, it's a cash grab.
That'll do it.
Yep. But look, this is worth checking out. Now, we found it on YouTube, but it turns out you can watch it on High Dive in some areas. Unfortunately, not in Australia. So just go to YouTube. You can find plenty of... Literally, if you type Blackmagic M-66 watch, you will find it. Like, it's
free movie, people.
Yeah, look, I'm going to check if it's maybe unavailable in your region. Let's have a look. Blackmagic M-66. It may be unavailable in your region. 404. The page you requested could not be found.
Balls.
Actually, didn't she write 404? Like, that was the alert code they had. Yeah, like, that's before the age of the internet.
Well, that's just a mysterious coincidence. Wait, really?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. What do you use the camera to look at my screen?
Do you not?
No, but that's a good idea. Look, go if you want to giggle. It's only 45 minutes. 48 minutes. It's silly. It's just for a laugh.
It's great.
It's like, don't take it serious. Watch the dub and have a giggle at some of the liners. As you said, like the scientist, he's like, Grandpa, help her. Why won't you help her? Because it's not scientific. You're like...
Oh, and there's a random Scotsman at the end as well.
Yeah.
It's because he has the moustache, I'm certain.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
The Japanese just saw that, they're like, oh, look, he's groundskeeper Willie.
Well, actually, there's a lot of diversity in the show as well. Like, there's a lot of people who you go, is he African-American? Is he, potentially from the Middle East? Is he American? Is he from France?
To be fair, you did see a lot of that in Ghost in the Shell, and there was an explanation behind that, because the economy had crashed, there were wars everywhere, and there was climate refugees. Everyone went kind of everywhere.
That makes sense.
And this was also in a point in time where Ghost in the Shell is concerned, where you could just use cybernetics to replace your entire physical appearance. And so people could simply be who and what they wanted to be. And
must be nice.
Yeah, must be nice.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
But
so there's an explanation behind that sort of thing, but at the same time, it also like makes you wonder, especially when they're like, "Oh, there's anti-North sentiment and these Northern rebels." So this could maybe not even be set in Japan. We just don't know.
Yeah, like has America gone to war? The US gone to war with Canada? Like,
were they invaded by Japan? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, or could it be set in Korea?
Could be.
Your guess is as good as ours.
Because it's set in the distant future, they have free license to just say whatever the hell they want.
Every time you say that, I just want to go the year 2000.
That is the future.
Okay. But look, go have a watch. It's a good giggle.
It's great.
I think you'll get a good laugh out of it if you do. And that's where we're going to wrap this one up.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Well, that is where we're going to leave things this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and apologies for the delay on release. Next time, it might be. We need to confirm, but we may be doing a special guest episode with a friend of ours who has done a little bit of voice acting, and we might be talking Gurren Lagann.
Yes.
Because,
one of the best mechas of all time.
Yeah.
Fight me in the comments on that.
I just think it's fantastic. I love Studio Trigger, so there you go. This is before Studio Trigger was Studio Trigger. It's when they were part of Gainax.
Yeah, but that entire team then split off to make Trigger, and this was one of their finer works, I'd say.
Now, if you have enjoyed what you've heard, usual things, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment for engagement. It's good giggles.
Check out our Patreon. We say a lot of the naughty words on the Patreon video. Sort of a pre-show banter.
Yeah, so big thanks to our Patreon members. If you would like to support us, access to the pre-show gives you access to extra content, including the pre-show where the gloves are off and the... No direction is given.
My favorite words are the vulgar ones.
No. So we have outtakes, video extras, links in the description if you are interested in that. Memberships start from $1 a month.
We talk about tentacles in the pre-show.
Look, we went diving into the back catalogue of these two studios. There are some interesting relics in there. If you're interested, jump over on there.
Definitely worth the Google, boys and girls.
With that, socials, go press buttons, do things, enjoy. Hope you're keeping well. You've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, watch some anime!
Tentacles.